Hi, everyone. Thank you for watching. I'm Hameeda. I work as the Associate Programs at Girl Up India. And today I'll be sitting down with Anisha Aggarwal, ma'am. I'm very excited about this particular discussion because she leads the fundraising and external communication efforts at Ipas Development Foundation. She's keenly interested in improving healthcare for young people, and part of our conversations are going to be surrounding FemTech and building inclusive technologies in the context of India. So, welcome, ma'am. It's wonderful to have you here. And we hope that any of the viewers will be able to learn more about your efforts and from your insights. So, I'll just delve into this right from the start. I'd like to know from you a little bit about how do you feel FemTech contributes to advancing gender equality and empowering women in various aspects of their lives, such as healthcare, reproductive rights, and wellness.
So, hi, and first of all, Hameeda, thank you very much for having me here and giving me this platform to share our experiences, my organization's experiences on how we are using FemTech and how we are very excited about it because we are using it in rural communities with young girls and young men as well, and how that has opened up a window of opportunity for us. And contrary to what many people think, including ourselves when we started out, that can technology really be useful for the communities that we serve, the rural, the remote, the not so educated and all of that. But what we realize is that mobile phone penetration, internet penetration is just so high. It has reached really the unreached and is helping us do that as well. So that is primarily very, very exciting for us. Also, specifically because we work on sexual and reproductive health issues, for that, we are finding how technology is even more, it is acting as such a catalyst because there is a huge, component of privacy that young people seek when asking or seeking information on these issues. And technology allows just that. So a very exciting place for us to be in.
Thank you, ma'am, for your very compact insights. I especially liked how you focused on the aspect of privacy because that is something that has come up time and again, especially in the femtech space. So, I would like to understand from you, and possibly I would love for you to take it from your own experiences. That what do you feel are some of examples, some notable success stories or examples of femtech innovations that have had a significant impact on improving health outcomes and addressing the gender disparities that you have been talking about?
Right, and I'll talk about our own example, Hameeda. So we recently, well, not recently, our femtech journey in that sense started in the COVID era. So back during COVID, so we run a program, which is focused on youth sexual and reproductive health issues. And we work with peer educators or youth leaders, as we call them, in rural areas of West Bengal, Jharkhand, Assam, and Madhya Pradesh. And these youth leaders were providing very intensive in-person awareness campaigns and support to young girls and women in schools and in communities. But what happened during COVID was that this in-person connection was broken. They were not able to make the visits. But the needs of the young women and girls actually increased in a way. They still wanted to have the information that they always wanted. And they were calling up the youth leaders, through telephones. And that is when we realized that obviously support will always be needed. They do have access to a telephone, probably a shared one, but they used to find that right window of time to be able to make that call because of the kind of information they were looking for or the topics that they were covering. And that is when we started the journey of developing what we call now Disha Didi, which is a chatbot, a WhatsApp based chatbot. And it has been a very exciting journey for us. So how that has improved some of the health outcomes, so to speak, or how that has helped some rural women is that it has a simple number. You just say hi to Disha Didi. It has 7 basic topics that it covers, including adolescent health, body changes, menstruation, contraception, abortion, and COVID. And it has a set of prefixed questions that you can use you can select one of those to get the response to your query, but it also allows you to type your own question, which and the other USP we sort of added to this chatbot when we developed it was that we made it in English. So it is not in Hindi, it's not in English, it's in the kind of language that young people are using these days. So we co-created this with the communities that we had to float it out in. And we believe that we have made a big difference in the way they are able to ask for information when they need to ask for information. Because a lot of research that we are doing, a lot of programs that we are running, obviously we all know that there is a need for them to get the information, but what we realize is that it's very critical for them to get the information when they want the information. And another related example of this last part that I'm saying is that the chatbot also allows you to connect to a counselor via a chat. Because it's a AI driven chatbot, technology may not always understand the question you're typing. It gives you the option that if I'm not able to understand your question, connect to a counselor. But in our pilot phase, we did not have a counselor sitting all the time to respond immediately. So the counselor would get back to the user. And we realized that one of the big lessons learned for us that we lost the user. After 4 hours, if we are getting back, we lost the. So we realized what is the importance of time, how time sensitive this is, maybe due to lack of having a personal phone, maybe because that is the time I need the information and then I've moved on to other sources. But that has been a big learning for us as well. So we believe that even with a small intervention like this, doing it in very limited areas as we are today, because we could only float it in, Hindi-speaking communities, has really given power to those girls to get information if this human youth leader is not available. And Hameeda, I have been to the field myself to see the impact and to meet these girls who are using it. And they have good things to say about Disha Didi. It's almost like it's become another support system for them, topics that they cannot discuss with humans sometimes.
It's so heartwarming, and it's amazing to see the kind of steps that you've taken in terms of co-creation, in terms of making it as inclusive as possible. And you've already created a segue into my next question, which focuses a lot on how we can make these solutions like Disha Didi more accessible and inclusive, because we need to address the needs of entirely diverse populations who are going through different segments in their own reproductive health journeys, right? So how is it that you feel, and in your experience, we can bridge the very stark digital divide that is present in India, and ensure access to such femtech tools and services?
Right. So, well, it's not always easy to answer this question on inclusion when we are talking about technology, I must say. So, as developers and as people who want to advance access, oftentimes there is this question of how are you using technology, and at the same time, how are you being inclusive enough in that sense, right? But I would say that so let me answer this in two parts actually. But so for a technology solution like ours, right, like the chatbot, we realized that a big solution within the solution was co-creation. So we worked with the communities not only to understand the kind of questions that they are looking for answers to, but also the form of answers they want. And what we realized with a lot of young people is attention span is very limited. So you cannot be giving them lengthy text heavy answers. So a lot of responses, in fact, in our chatbot come as pictures. They come as links to YouTube videos, mediums and platforms that they are already using. That also helped us sort of bridge the gap between, not so educated, the ones who cannot read a lot. You are giving them videos, you're giving them, information in different forms. I would say one lesson that we have learned and something we are still trying to do is that how can we make this just voice friendly? Like what about, like, how do I reach my user if my user just cannot type in a query, or so my technology solution should be able to understand and respond to just an audio query, and respond in the same way. So that has been one of the big learnings for us. But having said that, and outside of the chatbot as well, coming to the second part in a way of my response, is that we also realized that sometimes traditional technology works as well, in the sense that a helpline works as well. Now one may or may not call it completely technology, but in the second phase of our chatbot, what we have done, for example, is that we give the user the option to call a counselor. Just click on a button and we connect you to a human counselor who is sitting in our helpline, because sometimes that is what helps. Not always can technology help you. So I would say that that has also been a step towards inclusion, and helplines are also, in that sense, a big solution.
I think I especially loved how you accepted the fact that there are limits to technology and how at some point the human experience does require a more human response from the other end. And I love how you focused on traditional technology and how even in the conversations when we talk about femtech solutions, to some extent, we always think of them as having to be innovative rather than just existing within the structure and making use of whatever they can. Um, but I also want to understand from you that if during your femtech journey, has there ever been an instance where you've seen gender biases persist in healthcare and technology? There's an ongoing conversation, and that is one of the biggest critiques of femtech as well. Like, how do you address these biases in design, in development? How do you ensure that they're sensitive to diverse needs and experiences?
Yeah, and I would admit here, Hameeda, that we have not been very good at it. So, we work with young women. We have only recently started working with young men, but we are not working with the entire spectrum of gender in that sense. I would also not say that we have been able to address the needs, or even to some extent being sensitive, to the needs of at that level. I would actually say, as an organization, we are still learning, because it's not easy. It's not easy to even have a platform that, in India, what we've realized is that rural, urban, talking to an 18-year-old versus a 38-year-old, that is a very diverse set in itself. And within that, when we add more sort of diversities and gender diversities today, about which awareness is increasing, and we see that in rural communities as well, it's not easy. So I would actually admit that it's difficult. We would like to learn, in fact, from people who are already doing it.
Thank you, ma'am, for your honesty. I think that also shows the level of wisdom and experience that you have gathered, especially during your femtech journey. But do you feel that perhaps this can be a way through which we can also explore deeper partnerships, deeper collaborations, and as you said in your last part, that you would like to learn more. So is that a way through which this particular issue and this particular obstacle that each and every femtech founder is facing can be resolved?
Surely, yes. Collaborations, partnerships, learning from each other. Also, I think accepting what I know, what I don't know, that openness and willingness. But I think at the core of it, I believe that we need to accept the diversities to start with. And we need to accept that one solution will not work for all. So as femtech developers, we need to know that it's a long journey and it's going to have different paths. It's not like we have one technology solution and we say, okay, it can have so many, it can have a range of audience, because I believe that today's audience is very focused on the kind of information they want. And your solution needs to be really crisp and clear in the kind of information it is delivering. So we might need to look at multiple solutions in that sense.
Thank you, ma'am. This was a wonderful discussion, and it definitely made me leave with a lot of insights, a lot of nuggets to focus on. I enjoyed this session, and I really, I'm very thankful for your time and your insights. Is there anything that you would like to add, ma'am, before we end?
Not really, just that it's exciting times. Technology is in. just to say that communities, women and girls, men, everyone has moved ahead of the developers and the technologies, right? So we need to keep pace with them. It's time to do that. And at the same time, remember that we are not developing for ourselves. We are not developing for the sake of technology. We are developing for the sake of users. So just keep the user in the center always.
Thank you, ma'am. Those are very precise parting words, which will make our readers and our viewers to also think a lot about their journey into femtech and also about the larger goal of femtech in general. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your time.